Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I've got another drone for you today. I have the Ruko U11 Pro drone. Now, what kind of drone is this? This is what I would consider probably a good first drone. It is a folding drone with brushless motors, GPS hold drone, so that you can fly it outside in a little bit of wind and it's not going to fly away on you. It does have a 4K camera, however, that camera is fixed. It's not on a gimbal. So yeah, let's quit messing around. Let's get this guy out of the box and take a look at it. I think it's a pretty good, comes with a pretty good kit. Okay, let's take a quick look at the box here. You know, nice retail box. U11 Pro, it says, 4K ultra high definition camera, brushless motor, GPS hold, optical flow positioning. Optical flow means that it will hold its position. So on the side of the box here, this is important, QR codes for the app, the Ruko app that you're going to use to fly the drone. That's what you'll put on your mobile device. Oh, and it does say age 14 plus on the side. The usual warning labels on the back, and then on the other side here, it's telling us that it is indeed a 4K UHD ultra high definition camera, brushless motors, FPV live video. What that means is it's shooting a picture back to your mobile device so that you can see what the drone sees while you're flying it. And then finally at the bottom there, GPS altitude hold. Let's get the drone out of the box. So they always put a high quality plastic bag in many of these drones, and so that's out of the box. Flip it around here, you can see it says Ruko there right on the case. So here's the case right here. I always appreciate a double pull zipper on the side. We're going to have to turn it upside down here, or at least the Ruko is upside down to get it open. And let's unzip. Oh, I should have pointed out you got a nice carrying handle here as well. And flip her open, and there's what we got. I always appreciate a full-size manual. When you're an older guy like me, being able to see a manual is a good thing. And of course, you have the QR codes to download the app on your mobile device for Apple and iOS or Android. So we've got the drone itself, but before we do that, let's pull out the controller here. And I always like when they include one of these little, I guess you'd call it a directions page. It tells you what all the buttons on the controller do. Of course, I know what you guys want to see, and that's the drone itself. Here is the Ruko U11 drone, and it has a gimbal cover on there. Let's go ahead and flip it open here. So it looks like you're going to open the front arms first, then the rear arms, and they just flip sideways open, as opposed to some other drones that you may have to turn them down, etc. And we do have plastic over the top. We'll pull that off before we get it out and fly it. But here's those brushless motors. It's got folding props that are screwed on there, and I'm sure it includes a screwdriver and some spare props. We'll look at that in a second. But what else can we see here? Here is the power button for the battery, and the battery, yeah, is not fully inserted. So let's pull it out. And yeah, what they typically do is they put a little foam rubber block so that the battery can't be engaged while it's in transport. Here's the battery, and yeah, it needs to be charged. It's not charged at all, but it simply slides in right there, and you can feel it lock. You pinch these two buttons right here to pull it out, and well, we're looking at the battery. It's a 1900 milliamp 7.6 volt battery, and it just says to turn it on and off. So a couple of interesting things that I see here on the bottom. Here, right here, is that optical flow camera, and what that does is it helps the drone know whether it's moving or not, or what direction it's moving in, and will also help keep its distance above the ground. What's also encouraging to see is you have an SD card slot there. Because this is a 4K camera, you're going to want to use a U10 or above micro SD card. So then the cover on the camera here, but this is just a very lightweight plastic cover. So then we do have some plastic over the lens. We'll pull that off before we fly. And the camera, I'm sure, is adjustable. I don't want to manually try and push it up and down because we could mess up the gears in there. That's going to be adjustable on the controller while you fly. But what it is not, it doesn't have a gimbal. So while this is rubber mounted, that'll help with vibration and keep the video jello free. As you bank the drone, the camera's going to move along with it, and you'll see that kind of movement. But that's okay for a drone in this price range. So this drone is heavier than 249 grams, so you will have to put an FAA number on the side of it, but that's awful easy to do. It just costs you $5. You go onto the FAA website and sign up, and they'll give you a number. And what I do is I just use a little label making machine and put my FAA number on the side of my drones. Let's see what's in the rest of the case here. So my suspicion is here we're going to find yeah, this is the second battery. So I misspoke. There isn't a charge block. What this is you will plug this into the controller, and this is what will hold your mobile device. So we'll figure that out when we get to the controller. And then, indeed, here is the second battery. So I noticed something here that I didn't see earlier when I was looking at the battery that I took off of the drone. It does have a USB-C port, and that's how you're going to charge this battery. So I would use a high output USB charge block and plug that USB-C cable in there, and you're going to get this thing charged right up. Let me pull the stuff that's in the top compartment here. Okay, here's the contents of the top part of the case there, and I'm not going to pull them all out of the bag because you guys have seen this stuff before, but you have two USB-A to USB-C charge cables in this bag. You have the ubiquitous screwdriver that comes with these kind of drones, and that's in case you need to replace a prop, and there are prop screws in there in case you lose one of those little screws. And it's important, if you change a prop, you're going to want to use these new screws because typically they have just a little bit of thread locker on there that will keep the prop in place. And then, of course, you have a bag full of spare props. Hopefully that's not anything you'll need anytime soon, but I'm glad that they include them. Okay, here is the remote controller for the Ruko U11 Pro. You got the usual gimbal sticks right here. This is to power the remote controller on and off. This is a one-button return to home key, so you push that button and the drone will come back to you, providing you have a GPS lock. And then this button down here is the GPS switch. So that's for turning GPS on and off on the drone. I'm telling you, you're going to want to leave it on unless you're flying inside the house. And quite frankly, I don't recommend flying inside the house. This drone says it'll do it, but for the most part, I would be outside in a field when flying this drone. This is GPS follow me, this button right here. This button right here will put the drone into circle mode, and this is a high and low speed mode button. When you're first starting out, I definitely would start in low speed before you put it in high speed. And then let's look at the top of the controller here. So this roller right here is the roller that is going to tip that camera on the drone up and down so that you can look down and look up with the camera. That's handy because you want to be able to get that camera pointed at what it is that you're trying to look at. This button will start recording. This button will take a picture. So of course the other thing you're going to want to know is how you charge the controller up and keep the battery charged on the controller. It's good that this one has an internal battery, and you charge it right here via that USB-C port, and you could use one of those charge cables that comes in the box. So the antenna on this drone, it looks to me like they're here for looks only. There is no wire. I can't see any kind of wires going into these antenna, which tells me that they're just there for looks. So honestly, you could leave them folded up the whole time you're flying the drone and it's not going to make any difference. Other than they may get in the way of our mobile device mount here. Let's take a look at that. So you remember this device that we pulled out with the box that had the battery in it? Well, it's just simply going to clip into the back of the controller here. So with the antenna pointed down, you just simply slide this in right here, and you heard it snap there. And then this little guy moves. You can adjust it back and forth, and your mobile device is going to fit. This clamp just stretches up and down and clamps down on your mobile device. So that's about it for the controller. Let's take another look at the drone. Hey, okay, so the Ruko U11 Pro, there's only one thing left to do. Let's get out in the field and let's get this bird in the air. As you can see by my attire, it's pretty cold today. It's the 15th of December. I'm at Heroes Park in Meridian, and it's about 34 degrees outside, so I know I'm going to get some cold fingers today. Let's quit messing around. Let's get this bird in the air. Hey, so this is the first time I've fired this drone up, and it has a little bit different procedure than I've seen on other drones. So the first thing we need to do is turn on the drone itself. That's just a long press on the button, and then we need to turn on the controller, and that's just sliding this switch right here. It's a little bit top heavy with my phone, but then you pull the left control stick down to the 6 o'clock position, and that binds the controller to the drone. And so now the next thing we need to do is get a Wi-Fi connection. So I opened up the Wi-Fi on my phone, and the Ruko U11 Pro shows up there, so I'm going to connect to it. There's no password. It should connect automatically or connect without a password. And then once you do it one time, it should connect automatically on your phone. So we're connected there. And then the next thing we're going to do is open up the app. Although it doesn't tell you that exactly, but I believe that is the next step, and it uses the Ruko GPS app. So yeah, we're going to click OK, and we're going to click OK, and it's already saying go flying, but I know we need to do a compass calibration. So that is simply 3 rotations horizontally and then 3 rotations vertically, and it's supposed to give us beeps, but I'm not seeing any indication on here, so we'll see. Yeah, so it's giving us a little tutorial on the app, and I'll let you guys look at that here. And we already did that. And calibrate the compass and gyroscope. Yep, we're going to do that right now. So let's start with the 3 rotations horizontally and then vertically. Hey, that was really easy. So it gave me a beep in both situations. And then next we need to do the gyro calibration, which is the right stick down and to the right. And we got a beep, so I think we're good to go there. I clicked OK on everything, and it looks like we have a FPV picture. Let me see if I can lift that camera up. Yeah, we sure do. So I used the scroll wheel to pick the camera up there. And let's look at the app real quick. And we do not want it in beginner mode. I'm not sure if I need to set any of this. Default 30 meters. Let's just go ahead and crank all that stuff up. Boy, I'll tell you what, my fingers are freezing already. Let's see, 20 meter return to home. I'm going to crank that up just a little. We don't need it at 40. Let's go. Boy, it's really sensitive. So we're at 29 meters. That should be plenty for where we're at. We should be good to go here. Let me start recording now, and I'm going to do that on the app. And it is recording, so yeah, so that's good. Let's go ahead and arm the motors, and to do that, you're going to do both sticks down and in. And they did. The motors took off. Let's see if we can do an auto takeoff on the app. Yep, and we've got a slider here. And look, there we go. Hey, this is all good stuff, folks. This little drone is operating just like I say it is. Now, you can see it kind of bouncing around there. And let me, I'm going to pick it up. And like I said, it's fairly windy today. You know, we've got probably more wind right now than you'd normally fly this drone in. But I'm telling you, I'm encouraged by what I see here. I have good control. The controls feel real good. It responds well. Everything that we did just then through all the calibrations, they were very straightforward. Now, one of the things I'm going to tell you is if I look at the battery meter on the drone, it's saying 50%. Well, I had the thing on the charger for about, well, over 12 hours. And the last light was still beeping on it, or was still blinking when I pulled it off the charger this morning, which is odd. So that's kind of an odd thing. But anyway, I'm going to drop the gimbal down here just a little bit. And I do have another a second battery, but it was the same thing. It was still blinking. So the drone is moving around a little bit, but not terrible. Let's go back and up and see what we can do. Yeah, and I'm not used to the control, so you know, it kind of the moving around and stuff that you see is probably as much my fault as anything. Plus, my fingers are just really cold. Okay, let's back it up a little bit now. Let's see if we can go back. And I didn't see what they advertised for range, but I'm not expecting a lot of range out of this drone. And you can see there when I let off the sticks that it kind of points down there. I picked up the camera a little bit. That's better. Let's back it up a little bit more and maybe go a little bit higher. So I expected that this, we'd see some movement on the camera because this drone does not have a gimbal on there. But what I'm encouraged by is I'm not seeing any jello. So I'm moving the drone to its left now, as you can see. And we're about, how far away? We're about not quite 100, we're 89 meters away. Let's see if we can get it out 100 meters. And we can, and that's probably as far as, I don't know how far this drone is going to go, but we're not going to do much of a range test here. Let me move it around. We're right out in the middle of the park, so I'm going full stick forward here, and let's see. It is giving us a speed of 3.3 meters per second. And yeah, I'm getting a beep there. I don't know why. Let's turn around the other way, and we're about 125 meters away. But I've got good control. I'm not, we haven't lost FPV. We haven't lost anything. Let's push the speed button on here. There's a high and low speed. Let's see what happens. So I think that might have put it in a higher speed. I'm going to go full stick forward here. Yeah, and it did. Yeah, it's a lot faster in this speed. So the drone is coming right back to us. Let's steer it over the top of us here. And here she comes. It's kind of fun to watch it. It's moving right along. Okay, let's put on the brakes. And boy, you saw it tip up there. Yeah, you're going to hear me complaining because boy, my fingers are freezing off here. Oh boy, is it bitter cold here today. So I kind of like the sport mode in this guy. It moves out pretty good. And you're seeing the drone kind of get blown around in the wind there a little bit when I'm moving it. So Yeah, so you can see, oh, we had a really stiff wind come. Oh, yeah, we got a big gust of wind. So I'm bringing the drone down a little bit. We're just going to leave it hover there for a second. Yeah, that was a big gust. We've got a big snowstorm blowing in tonight. Yeah, we may have to end this test flight a little bit early because it's really starting to get windy. I kind of thought that maybe we would avoid the worst of the wind, but I probably should have come out a little bit earlier today. But let's bring the drone to us here. I'm trying to move it towards us. I can see it blowing around in the wind up there. It's fighting the wind. This is probably windier than you would normally want to use this drone in. So I'm going to bring it over the top of me, and let's try an orbit mode. Okay, I'm going to push the orbit mode on here, and I don't see the drone doing anything. Okay, let's try that. Let's try that on the app. And you know, it says it's in GPS follow, so that's kind of interesting. I pushed the orbit button, and it says it's in GPS follow. So I got out of that. I'm going to try it again. So I'm going to do it on the app here. Yeah, so it's in joystick mode. Yeah, whatever that means. Let's do orbit. And yeah, there it's starting to spin around. And what you can do, yeah, there. And so it says in the app that you can change it around. Let me see if I can point the camera down. Yeah, so I'm backing it up here a little bit, and I'm increasing the radius. So there, you can see me down there, and it's doing an orbit, just like it said it would. And you can control the height and the radius with the sticks. So that's pretty cool. And it's working perfect. And for it to do this in this kind of windy environment is a good thing. Okay, so let's... we've shown that works. Let's get out of that. So I stopped it, and the drone responded immediately. I'm going to try the GPS follow me, and I'm going to use the button on the controller, and let's see what that does. Yeah, so that didn't seem to do anything. So I'm going to suggest that you use the app for those modes. So we've got it in follow me mode here. I'm just going to walk around a little bit, and I'll tell you if it's following me. And it is. And you know what? It's doing a fairly decent job. Well, now I just walked out of frame, but it seemed like, yeah, it's doing a decent job of keeping me in frame somewhat. That's the thing about GPS follow me as opposed to optical. Doesn't always keep you in frame. And it wants to use cellular data. Yeah, we're going to let it do that. So I don't know what that was about, but yeah, so far so good. So the only thing I'm questioning so far on this drone is let me tell you, I just made a mistake earlier. So when I pushed the button that I thought was orbit, I was actually pushing the GPS follow me on the controller here. It's so cold, trust me, my eyes were watery. So this button takes it in and out of GPS mode. The next one is what puts it in follow mode. So I should be able to take it out right now. Yeah, and I did. And boy, the little drone is really struggling here. We've got down about 36% battery. I'm going to fly it out, and we're going to put it in return to home and see how close we get to. And boy, I'll tell you what, in high speed mode, this drone moves right along. Let's pick that camera back up a little bit as best I can. and we'll see if we can do a return to home here. I'm going to do it on the controller. I'm going to push this button on the controller, and you know what? It's beeping, and I'm watching the drone rise to its return to home height. And it's coming back to us. Ah, wow, nice job. Well, I'll tell you, I love it when things work the way they're supposed to. And it's telling me drone low battery. So, you know what? It is not coming back. So we're gonna fly it back here. I have got no, it is not responding to controls. So that's not a good thing. So let's take it out of that return to home. Yeah, I'll tell you, I cannot get the drone to respond to controls. It's right above me over there, and it's beeping like crazy. And I push return to home on the screen. Well, I was bragging about how well this drone was doing. And it's telling me low battery. I can't fly. It won't respond to controls. I can't raise or lower in height. I can't control the drone, whatever. It's just hovering up there. So we're kind of helpless. I was giving this drone a pretty good grade until this. So I don't know what's going to happen here. It's over the grass. I suppose it may just fall out of the sky. Well, we're, you know, I don't know, almost 13 minutes into the flight, and it's just up there hovering. I can't get it to respond to any controls. I'm tempted to turn off the remote and turn it back on, but that may cause more problems than we already have. So it is over the grass, so if it falls, it's going to fall over the grass out there. Yeah, it's just not responding to anything. Let me see if I can hit land on the app. Yeah. Okay, that worked. I hit land. I hit land on the app, and it's landing out there. So, we'll see. It's close to that tree. We'll see what happens here. Okay, so I got the drone. It just landed in the grass. It was fine. So the only control I could get it to respond to was just the land button on the app. It wouldn't respond to any other controls in any way. So, and boy, it went into that low battery just instantly. So, kind of interesting. I'm not sure that's good, but in any case, let me slap another battery in it. I've got a second battery, and we've got one thing left to try, and that's waypoints. So we'll give that a try, and then hopefully once we do that, we can try a successful return to home. We'll see what happens. Okay, I've got the drone all calibrated. It's telling me that the battery is at 100%. Again, both batteries, when I tried to charge them, I got that weird, you know, they were on the charger for like 12 hours, and they never did show fully charged. I still had one blinking light on both of them. So in any case, let's see if we can start recording video, and I'm going to do that on the controller here. And it did. That started. You know, this drone is a little bit of a conundrum to me, because it in one hand it works quite well, and then it's disturbing when you had a situation like we had with that return to home. So let's go both sticks down and in, and that got our props going. And let's go and do an automated takeoff again. If I can, my fingers are so cold. There it goes. And it took off all right. And I do want to give the drone the benefit of the doubt in that we do have a very, very windy day today. The wind is really starting to come up here. So In any case, I'm going to put it up in the air, and we're going to see if we can get a little waypoint mission going. So let's go straight up with the drone. Well, we can go a little higher than that. And I'm going to turn it around here. And again, you know, it is a windy day here today, so we're going to click on the map, and I thought this was where I did waypoints, but I might be wrong. Let's go back here. Let's click on waypoint. There we go. So in that special menu, you got waypoints, and then we're going to do the dots. So we click on the little pencil with dots. And I'm going to make this map a little bit bigger, and we're not going to get too carried away. So I'm going to do just a little square here and bring it kind of maybe down kind of next to us. So let's go ahead and send that to the drone, and that's that little up button. And so that's sending that information to the drone. Oh, and it's already taken off. So it's going to its first waypoint. And I'm going to just leave the screen recorder on the map here so you can see it go to the waypoints. And it's handling the wind pretty good. And it should be turning. It's at its first waypoint. Should be turning to go to its second waypoint, maybe. There it goes. It paused for a second, and then it's going to waypoint number 2. It's executing it perfectly. I saw it reduce a little bit in altitude. It's at 2. And by the way, this map appears to be very accurate, because I'm looking at the drone where it's at out in the field. It seems to be very accurate. So it's going to 3 now. Or turning to go to 3. It pauses for a second. Well, it's still sitting there at 3. Thinking, oh, there it took off. No, maybe not. It's just moving up and down. It seems to be kind of stuck there at 2. So we'll give it a second and see what happens. And if not, we'll just take it out of that mode. Wonder if I give it a little nudge. I gave it a little nudge with the sticks. Yeah, so it stopped at that second waypoint. I do not know why. Let me bring it back to us here. And it is responding to controls. So I'm going to bring the drone back to us here, which is good. I like that it's responding to controls. And maybe we'll try it one more time here. I'm going to hit that send button again and see if the drone will... Yeah, and it's starting over, so let's try it one more time here. It's heading to that first waypoint again. So it's at number 1. What I noticed is when I got to that second waypoint, that little send button got highlighted again, so it told me that it for some reason lost the command. So it's heading to that number 2 where it got stuck last time, and we'll see what happens again. It's still there at number 2. It turned around, and yeah, it's still there at number 2. So I think if I hit the control, it'll take it out of waypoint mode. And it did. So that's what happened last time as well. Anyway, so it's just evidently not going to complete that waypoint mission. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We have, it is getting colder and colder. I'm going to hit return to home on the controller again. And we'll see if we can get this thing to come back to us. You know, our return to home last time didn't work. It's rising to its return to home height. And it's coming back now. Look at that. That's what we wanted to see. So I don't know if our anomaly last time had to do with the fact that it was getting low on battery, but it's successfully coming back to us. And I'm not sure if I'm going to have to command it to land when it gets back here, or if it'll land by itself. We'll see. But it's almost directly above us, and it's reorienting itself. It is coming down. Yep, it's gonna. I think it's gonna land. Now, some of them also, they'll get down so far, and then they'll ask for that final 10 feet or so. But it's pretty darn close. Look at this. You're gonna see it on the GoPro. Let me drop the GoPro down so you can see it. And it kind of bounced a little bit on the concrete there, but you know, that's not, it's deciding if it should land. Yeah, and then it finally did, and it shut off motors. So yeah, that's what you want it to do. Okay, well, that was successful then. Hey, okay, let me get everything shut down. My fingers are freezing off, and we'll do a quick conclusion. Hey, okay, we had a successful flight with the Ruko U11 Pro, and of course now that we're done flying, the sun comes out a little bit, but I'm telling you, it's flipping cold, and I'm glad I got my gloves on now, because my fingers were about frozen off there trying to get this test flight in. However, I was overall happy with the performance of the drone, with one big exception and one smaller exception. The only thing that was concerning, let me back up a little bit. What I was pleased with is when we fired up the drone, everything worked as it should. It calibrated easy, everything that all the instructions, how they told you to get the drone going, were 100% accurate, and it worked perfectly. The drone calibrated, the motors were able to activate, I was able to take off, and it worked as it should. The controls were good. Some of these little drones like this, the controls can be pretty vague and can have a lot of lag in them. I didn't feel that with this guy. I felt like when I moved the stick, the drone took the command and did quite well. However, the flight went fine. I made one mistake when I was showing you how to do the orbit, and I pushed the button on the controller. And let me get out the controller here. I thought I was pushing the orbit button. I pushed this button right here, and that is the follow me, the GPS follow me, and I meant to push the one next to it. And it was so cold, my eyes were watering so bad that was my fault. But once we got into the app, we did both the GPS follow me and the orbit function on the app, and it worked perfectly. And then I tried it again on the controller, and it worked great too. So that all worked really well. So where did we get into trouble? Well, when we were done with all that, I took it back over the field, and I knew we were fairly low on battery. I hit return to home on the controller. The drone started to rise, and then it gave me a low battery warning, and the drone just sat there and didn't move. And that would be one thing, but I couldn't even fly it back because it would not respond to any controls with anything with the controller, any inputs with the controller. And on the app, I tried to cancel return to home to see if that would then allow me to get control of it again and fly it home. That didn't work either. What I finally did was I hit and it was just sitting there hovering. I mean, the drone wasn't going anywhere, it was hovering in place. But the way I finally got it back was to hit the land button, and the drone simply landed in place, and it was down over the grass over there, so it was a safe place to land. But what if it wasn't? You know, what if you were over the side of a hill or you know, over a little pond or a lake or something? You wouldn't be able to do that. So that's a little disconcerting. And could that have to do with this really cold today? It's possible. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But then we put the second battery into it and tried a Waypoint mission, and you know what? The Waypoint, it was really easy to set up. I hit the upload button and the drone immediately went to its first waypoint, turned, went to its second waypoint, and got stuck there for some reason. And I don't know why it wouldn't move past that second waypoint. But you can, what I did find then is you can take it out of waypoint mode by just giving it a stick input, and it takes it out of that mode. So at that point we just hit the return to home button on the controller, and our second time with return to home worked perfectly. The drone came back, it landed within, I don't know, 1.5 feet of the landing pad, so no complaints there. So you know, overall I think it's okay. And could that initial problem have had to do with it was really in low power mode at that point? I don't know, but even so, that isn't a good thing. And it's also, like I said, very cold. So I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt on that one, but I just want to make you aware of it. The waypoints, I'm going to have to try that again one of these days. Again, you know, like I said, it's a very cold day today. The other item of concern I had is I never was sure that I had the batteries fully charged. Yeah, when I put them in there, it said 100%, but then almost immediately it just showed 50% charge. So I don't know about that. And I was on a 3 amp quick charger, so I don't know. I can't answer that one either, but that's something we'll have to try. Overall, I think a beginner would do okay with this drone. Just you know, just be aware of some things. I actually enjoyed flying it. I wish it had been a little bit warmer day. Hey, so I do want to say that this drone is available on Amazon, and I think they got a coupon right now, and it's like right around $180, which I think is a fairly decent buy for a GPS drone like this. So I will put my affiliate link in the description below, but I guess that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out, and if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I do appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And yeah, of course, we will see you on the next one. Yeah, the Ruko U11 Pro. Bye now.